Hello, today I'm taking a look in this video at some of my World War I game collection. I think I'm going to call this part 1 because I have quite a few. I think I'm going to break it up into, categories. And for whatever it's worth, I'm wearing Schrodinger's equation today. So if you have any need to figure out, the wave of a particle, good luck. The first game that I have is from S&T. I think it's 51. I don't have the magazine. I only have the game. This is a Dunnigan game, World War I, 1914 to 1918. And this game, it's fairly generic. It really only covers Western Europe, Eastern Europe, and Italy in the original one in the magazine. And it does show something interesting. Because you don't lose very many units in this game, but each unit is replenished by taking off manpower or some such thing from a track. So it kind of highlights the drain on the population of men that could serve in this war and the relative futility of making much progress. So I think it's a really excellent game to teach that one thing. Have this game, which I've played a few times, Paths of Glory. This is a card-driven game, point to point. It covers Europe and Italy, but it also covers the Near East, particularly the issues involving Lawrence of Arabia. There we go. So, excellent game. I mean, it is definitely a game, but there's a lot of historical flavor in the cards. I think are really nice and. It's a good game. It's worth having. Paths of Glory. It's a Ted Racer game. This one I really enjoyed. The Lamps Are Going Out, World War I. This one's the first edition by Compass Games. It's actually an area movement. I like the map a lot. I don't know if everyone does. It has cards. It's not card driven. It's card assisted. So the cards bring a lot of historical flavor into the game. Like it a lot. This does cover, the main parts of the war are Eastern, Western Europe, and Italy, but there is a track section that deals with Iraq and, Palestine, as well as East Africa. So it really covers the whole war. I would say it's fast playing, and I actually used this one when I was teaching history to my homeschooled grandkids. And grandson liked it. Granddaughter, of course, as you would expect, didn't care for it as much, but it's a very good teaching tool. I have this one from Decision Games. This is a Joe Miranda design. I think this is the first edition. I've never played it. I want to. I heard that it has some really good aspects to it. A lot of events which are really good at driving the narrative. So I'm hoping someday to get this to the table, but I'm not getting my hopes up too high. This is the original Death in the Trenches. This pretty much covers the entire World War I. It's got Mesopotamia, it's got Palestine, it's got East Africa, and the European section. It's quite good. It's heavily event driven. If you've ever played Absolute Victory by Ben Madison or CSA, the historical events are programmed into the game. How they actually affect the game is where the randomness comes in somewhat. But it adds a lot of flavor, especially if you're a narrative game player like I am. And of course, I bought the updated version from Compass Games, Death in the Trenches. Greatly improved components in this version. Haven't played it yet, though, but I'd like to get it to the table. This was one of my favorites, The Great War in Europe Deluxe. Originally, this came out in Command Magazine as The Great War in Europe, and then The Great War in the Near East was a separate magazine issue. And then GMT put them both together. So this game basically gives you, most of the war, including some of the sideshows. Yeah, the game has some flaws. I know that if you really try to game it out, you can possibly break it by eliminating too many troops for it to go historically into the stagnation. But as a narrative player, I always adjust for those things so that I'm not bound to it. But I did an extensive, I've played this game, the complete war, over quite a period of quite a few weeks, and kept a fairly detailed record of it. In fact, you might find I have a video on here. It's just a music video of the photographs I took of playing this game behind, I'll call it music that I put in there to stimulate the mood of how I was feeling, having dived so deeply into the narrative of World War I. So you might find it on here. I also have this one. This is another Ted Racer game, the First World War. I have played it. This one, I guess I like the least out of all of them. Although I think I've heard somewhere Ted thinks this is one of his better games. But beautiful components. I mean, I'll throw some pictures up of this. But wasn't my favorite of the bunch that I've played. Anyway, this is just part one of my video, and I hope you enjoyed taking a look at some of my World War I.
Trucking, got my chips cashed.